Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elmhurst City Hall. This is Monday, March 16th, 2009. Would you please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Thank you. I'd ask the clerk to please call our roll. Establish a quorum.
Regan, absent. Gutenkopf.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Shea.
Here.
Bram.
Here.
Rose, absent. Gow.
Here.
Hipskin.
Here.
Moriarty.
Here.
Nybo.
Here.
Sapaniak, absent. Morley.
Here.
Lumnicki.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
11 present, 3 absent.
11 present, 3 absent. We do have a quorum. Okay, very good. We have kind of an unusual agenda this evening in as much as we have 2 public hearings before we even get into the normal city council agenda. I got to tell you, I think that's the first time that's ever happened. But in any case, there it is. We have at this meeting annually the public hearing for our budget. So I am at this point going to open the public hearing for the 2009-2010 budget for the city of Elmhurst. Now, before I recognize anybody for comments, I'll also add that this is, we ask that you comment on the budget. If you have any comments on the budget, we're here to listen. We ask that you not ask a question for which you need an immediate answer. This is really a hearing. It's a budget hearing. We're here to hear whatever anybody has to say about it. Kind of the normal presentation rules go, which are, we ask that you start with your name and your home address, and you keep your comments to 3 minutes and you not ask a question. Other than that, I would like to ask, would anybody like to say a few words to the Elmhurst City Council about the proposed budget? That's been before. By the way, this budget has been before the council now in its capital form and its operating budget form for several months. At this point, copy of the documents have been available here at City Hall and at the Elmhurst Public Library. And Mr. Borchard, is the budget document online? It is. The entire budget document is online as well. So, very good. Anyone wish to comment? Yes, there's a hand on the aisle. Yes? Yes. That microphone right there would be fine. As I said, start with your name, home address, and you have 3 minutes. Tell us whatever's on your mind.
Yes, my name is Skip Stripmatter. My home address is 8295 Sweetwater Court, Darien, Illinois, 60561, and I am the Executive Director of the DuPage Convention and Visitor Bureau. I have served at that for the last 15 years, and our sole purpose is to market and promote the DuPage County tourism product to attract business and leisure travel to our communities, such as Elmhurst, to enhance economic growth. The hospitality industry is the largest segment of economic development today, the largest and the fastest. It employs thousands of people and pumps billions of dollars right back into your own community. These dollars do 3 things. They support jobs, they generate income for the residents, and they provide revenue at the city, state, and federal level through such things as occupancy tax, sales tax, license fees, thereby decreasing dependency on local taxation. In fact, every household in the entire state of Illinois would realize an additional $1,000 in their taxes if it were not for the visitor dollars spent right here in our area. As this current financial crisis becomes more widespread, the tourism industry is being deeply impacted. The need for a strong, cohesive marketing and promotion has never been more crucial than it is today. Years ago, our state and local governments recognized that this industry was a strong economic development leader, and in cooperation with our hotel industry, levied the Hotel Operators Occupation Tax solely to promote tourism and attract overnight residents and visitors to their municipalities. I urge each of you to consider the original intent of that act, to utilize those occupancy tax dollars as they were generally supposed to be used for the promotion of tourism and economic development. We realize that the city, as we all are, under financial constraints, but now is definitely not the time to withdraw your support of an industry that provides substantial and irreplaceable local tax dollars and thousands of jobs for the city of Elmhurst. An investment in support of tourism is an investment in the future and healthy prosperity of this community. I thank you for listening, and if you had any questions later, fine.
Okay, very good. On the budget, anyone else? Sir?
Nick Alexander, 586 South Hawthorne, Elmhurst. A couple of points I'd like to make about the budget. Perhaps they're small items, but I think there's something to consider anyway. The first is the accounts payable. Every meeting, this group votes on certain accounts payable. I've contended for some time, and apparently some aldermen agree, that these should be scrutinized. My position here tonight, the accounts payable figures over $5 million. If these things were scrutinized, legal bills, all the other income, all the other accounts payable, there could be some audits that generate additional income. While this might not be great over a year's time, might generate sufficient funds to fund some of these programs, such as the Citizens Police Academy. In February of 2008, several aldermen voiced their support for the review of professional services. I'm not aware of any audits. If I'm mistaken, I'd certainly like to be corrected. The second point I'd like to make is with regard to the annual compensation for the group at the dais. The total annual compensation is over $40,000. If one, more, or all of you decided to return the money, this would also be money that could be allocated to certain programs that would not have to be cut from the budget. Again, the Citizens Police Academy, of course, I took. Less than $10,000 could be saved. I think it's a great goodwill effort on behalf of the police department. I'm a big fan. Thanks.
Okay, very good. All right, anyone? Sir, on the aisle. Yes, sir.
Mayor Marcucci, first of all, if possible, I'd like to...
Sir, your name and your home address.
Sure, I'm sorry. Gino Impellizzeri, residing at 616 West Armitage in Elmhurst. We have new elections, and I know that you are not running anymore, and I would like to express my gratitude for the work you've done. I've been here only for 7 years, but certainly, even though I don't give an A to anybody, as a college professor, but I certainly will give you an A-. But anyway, I'd like to see how many of you are living besides the mayor, because I'd like to express my gratitude. Anyone else who is living in the board? No? You'll be here after, all of you, after April 7th. Okay, a couple of you are leaving. All right. As a resident of the city of Elmhurst, I would like to know if you, this board, are doing something to alleviate the burden of high taxes on residential homes, given the hard times that have come not so suddenly upon us. As you might know, the last assessment was disproportionate with the actual value of new homes. For instance, my house, which I bought 6 years ago for the price of $400,000, a new home, of course, was reassessed for the value of $632,000. Of course, I protested this extortion in quotation. But I was told that the increase was across the board, and my neighbor, too, had the same assessment. Some answer and some justice. The result was that now I'm paying about $10,000 in real estate taxes on a property which is worth much less than what I paid for it in 2002. By the way, I just retired from the College of DuPage. My salary was $100,000. Now it's $45,000. Unfortunately, I don't qualify for the total reduction because my wife works. She brings in $20,000. So we have an income of about $65,000. We'll see about that. Anyway, by the way, the lots where my house and my neighbors now stand used to have only one house in 2002, or in 2001. And the city of Elmhurst for that property used to collect about $3,000 yearly. Now, the city of Elmhurst collects about $20,000 on the same property. And this takes us to the bonanza of real estate money, which has reigned on the city for the last 20 years. The tear down of all the homes and the replacement by new homes, which until 2 years ago were worth at least 3 times as much, has made Elmhurst number 7 in the state of Illinois. Something to be proud of, undoubtedly, and I'm really serious about this. The more so that we have seen the changes through new schools, new library, new parks, etc. Let's give credit where credit is due. I'm a proud resident of Elmhurst. However, by now, we all know that the price of new homes was dishonestly inflated by unscrupulous mortgage sellers and irresponsible buyers who thought they could buy a new home without putting any money down and then make a hefty profit by selling it after a couple of years. I was told by somebody that in the 90s, the price of residential homes in Elmhurst doubled in 5 or 6 years. I don't know if it was true, but certainly the price used to go up a lot every year. But alas, the bursting of the bubble, the bursting of the bubble has brought a screeching halt to the long years of fat cows. And now we have to face the season of discontent of lean, mean cows. I do not know how much money for a rainy day was saved by this respectable board. But one thing is for sure, you can no longer expect that the citizens of Elmhurst keep paying high taxes on property which were bought at a fake value. I thank you for your patience. Please mail your answer to the address below. Thanks to each of you for the good work you have done until now. I wish lots of luck to those of you who will still be here after April 7. To those of you who are departing, I wish, well, let's say the luck you deserve for the good job you have done. Thank you very much. Who do I give this to?
Well, we've heard that there's a recording of it on electronically, so,
Okay, so you know my
all of
address.
that is recorded.
You know
sir.
my address. Thank you.
Thank you. Point out for the crowd, in case you're watching your watches, this gentleman went about 20 seconds over, but he was in what I call the wrap-up phase when he got there. So it's my job to kind of keep this fair and equitable, and we ask that if you have a prepared statement that hopefully you've been aware that we like these things kept to 3 minutes, et cetera. So again, on the budget, anyone wish to address the council on the budget? Yes, a hand there, yes. And
good evening, everyone. Beth Marchetti, M-A-R-C-H-E-T-T-I. Got to get that in. 619 Thomas Avenue, Forest Park. I'm here representing the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau, my 10th year as Director of Development. I'm here to address also the cut that is proposed for supporting the Bureau. The City of Elmhurst's main source of advertising inquiries or people that are asking about Elmhurst information, comes from a cooperative ad that the DuPage CVB does. We make it affordable for Elmhurst to do that. It runs in 2.5 million newspapers, and last year about 11,000 people inquired about getting information on tourism in Elmhurst. We offer this to supporting municipalities, and we also lend our marketing expertise in helping in that, and also writing a marketing partnership grant that helps offset the costs. In addition, the visitor's guide that Elmhurst does is partially offset by the grants that we give to Elmhurst. Last year, we gave $5,000 to help offset the cost of producing that visitor's guide. Since May of 1998, the Bureau has helped promote the Historical Museum, York Theater, American Movie Palace Museum, the Symphony, the Park District events, and more because of our membership with you all, without charging usual membership fees. We've also fed all that information to the state of Illinois, their agencies, JWT, Edelman, and that has resulted in radio feeds, broadcast, and other marketing opportunities. We also provide information and display and distribute information along the interstates, at Indiana toll roads, both eastbound and westbound. We're in all the hotel CTM racks across the western suburbs, and we are also at the interstates at the rest stops. Last year, we Also put all the information on Elmhurst, as we do continually, putting on our website, which receives over 1 million unique visits a year. We have electronic publications now, so they're downloadable with page turning capability, all with Elmhurst information in there. We rely heavily on the support of our members and partner communities to match our dollars that are given by the state. On top of that, the DCVB generated over $300,000 in business for Elmhurst hotels last year in group business alone. That doesn't include just weekend travel. With important events coming up like the 2016 Olympic bid, the 2012 Ryder Cup, the Solheim LPGA tournament, Elmhurst would greatly benefit by continuing their partnership with us. We understand, again, the financial shortfall. We just think it's a little short-sighted and really hope that you can continue supporting us. And please respectfully urge you to reinstate the financial support. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think I saw another hand back here on the budget. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Rick Kaufman, 605 Gladys, Elmhurst. Just want a quick comment about a line that's in the front porch from the most recent issue about eliminating and reducing expenditures that are considered desirable but that we can't afford this year. I encourage the council to look at every item in the budget and to strike anything that fits that category this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, very good. On the aisle, sir.
My name is Vince Spaeth. I live at 277 Prospect in Elmhurst. Just a quick comment on the budget. I don't envy any of your positions. You know, most of us have a business or are in business, and it's tough times. So I applaud you all for working hard on the budget and trying to find new ways to be creative. And I guess as you do that, I hope we can look at other things that are really out of the box, things such as utility islands, whether it be Elmhurst and the Villa Park waste treatment plant coming together to maybe consolidate operations somehow. Possibly using an old fire station to house old artifacts, something. If you start with the possibility is yes, things can happen, and we got to look under every rock we possibly can. And again, I don't envy your position. If we can all get involved a little bit more and help, I think we can battle these tough budgets and make some progress. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir. On the 2009-2010 budgets.
Willis Johnson, 603 Rogers Street, Downers Grove. It's my understanding, especially from what's been said tonight, that the DuPage Convention and Visitor Bureau, that in working on the budget, Elmhurst is considering dropping its membership in the Bureau. To me, this would be very short-sighted. Yes, they promote all of DuPage County, but by being a certified bureau, they are able to leverage state dollars for the benefit of all member communities, including Elmhurst. Visitors and tourism is economic development. We have a number of attractions that bring people to Elmhurst. We have a great tollway access. We're very close to O'Hare Field, so it's an attractive place for people to stay. Our visitor and tourism effort, plus DuPage Visitors and Convention Bureau, tells people about all these benefits. At the top of the list are our 5 hotels, who support and collect our hotel motel tax under the premise that this money will be used, at least in part, to support marketing efforts to bring people to Elmhurst and hopefully stay in one of our establishments. While I understand the needs for budget cuts, visitor and tourism and economic development is not the place to be cutting given where the times are. If anything, we need there to be an even stronger effort. So I'm here tonight to ask that Elmhurst maintain its membership in the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau and continue to support Elmhurst visitor and tourism effort. It's now more critical than ever. And I want to add that the York Theater is an independent member of the DCVB.
All right, anyone else? Okay, seeing no other comments to come forward in our 2009-2010 budget hearing, I will say I know I can speak for the entire Elmhurst City Council when I thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing your perspectives with us. These are things that we have to hear. I think it was even acknowledged by several of you that there are conflicting interests here. We all want the best and the most for Elmhurst, from police protection to public works to amenities like the museums, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we have to do the best we can to balance our budget as closely as possible and to make our dollars stretch as far as possible to cover the needs, the essential needs of the city of Elmhurst first, and then some of these other things later. So, again, thank you for your time. With that, this budget hearing is hereby closed. When I'm told by the attorney I'm supposed to rap the gavel when I do that. So, okay, very good. We now move on to item 3 on this evening's agenda, which, I'm sorry, 4 on this evening's agenda, which is a hearing on proposing the establishment of a special service area here in the city of Elmhurst, namely SSA 12 Gladys. Now, before I open the hearing, I'll just, by way of background, say that this has to do with a proposal to establish an SSA up there to help the residents, or to give the residents a vehicle through which they can pay their share of a new sidewalk that they have voted for themselves up there on one side of the street. As I've said in the past, taxes easy, sidewalks hard. For some reason, sidewalks are very difficult. Well, for multiple reasons, not some reason. That makes it sound like vague and ununderstandable. For various difficult reasons for people living in neighborhoods, sidewalks are problematic. That's why we've gone to great lengths to try to establish a process that is, we think, at least a couple of things. One, easy to understand and fair. Doesn't mean that everybody gets their way out of it. It involves a vote, which means there's two sides of the issue, and so some folks vote one way and some folks vote the other way. But in any case, we are going through that process. Tonight's hearing is not the last step in that process. It's just another step in that process. And it is an opportunity for residents in the neighborhood to make themselves heard on their feelings about this SSA specifically, which is the tax collecting structure that needs to go in place. So with that, I will hereby open this hearing on the Gladys Street Sidewalk SSA 12. You kind of heard our directions in the previous hearing, so I would ask anyone who'd like to be recognized to please raise their hand. Start with your name and your home address, and you got 3 minutes to tell us what's ever on your mind. Sir, on the aisle.
John Rebeletti, 625 Gladys, Elmhurst. I'd like to know who passed this ordinance that they could vote on half of a street getting done. It used to be the whole street have to vote, both sides. I've been there 42 years without sidewalks. I need them now. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Sir, in the back.
Rick Hoffman, 605 West Gladys, Elmhurst. I'm here with my wife, Patricia, tonight to voice our opposition to the SSA. Our primary reasons are, first of all, we believe that it's going to actually fund the destruction of personal property, including trees and bushes that are on a number of residents' property that will be impacted through this development. In addition, there are a number of us, my house included, that have a fairly steep incline in the area of the city parkway. The result of a sidewalk is going to create a shelf-like environment between our driveways, which is going to have a double dip, and it's now going to probably force additional investment on personally for us to replace or repair driveways that are going to have a severe slope and causing our cars to bottom out. I do want to reiterate what my neighbor John mentioned, that by having a sidewalk on one side of the street, in my mind, it puts an undue burden on that half of the street to pay for it, when the south side of the street will have the benefit of a sidewalk in their neighborhood without them having to pay anything for it. And finally, again, back to a house like my own with the severe slope, it provides an engineering challenge for those who are going to be trying to tie the rest of the yard into this. There's a possibility of creating some kind of a retaining wall, which would be, I think, an unsightly addition in front of my house. It also could be created or considered as an attractive nuisance. In the context of the youth of our neighborhood using their skateboards, would be likely to use that for their tricks, leading to potential harm. And then finally, it adds a burden, a retaining wall, to the Public Works Committee to maintain it. And we're already looking at budget items under other topics, again, where we're asking the Public Works Committee to not perform maintenance on sidewalks, not share in parkway planting. So I think it's incongruent with the initiatives that we're stating on other sides of the budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Fernando Del Rio. I live at 541 West Gladys. And
Sir, would you hold up that microphone right? It's
Sure.
you
Is
need-
that better?
Yes, that is better. Maybe if you get the microphone higher, or you can bend down. But thank you very much. I'm sorry to inconvenience you, but yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Fernando Del Rio. I live at 541 West Gladys. I'm here with my wife, Sally. And I just want to express our approval, or at least our interest in getting the sidewalks installed. We think it's a necessary safety requirement for both sides of the street. It's unfortunate that we can't pass it for both, but at least we can try for one, because on at least one side, I think there's a big safety issue with our kids or folks of my age and elderly as well. We believe that the SSA will be approved, but in the event that it's not, I'd like to have that process formalized. And what I mean by that is I'd like to see the petition, and I'd also see that I'd like to see that the petition is reviewed formally, and that there is a vote for the SSA if it's not approved. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Hand up there. Yes.
Hello, my name is Richard DeMondo. I live at 568 West Avenue, which is the northwest corner of West and Gladys. Been a resident here at that location for 22 years, and I've seen at least 2 generations of kids grow up down Gladys and walk up the street to the corner where the school bus stops right in front of my house. And in the 20-plus years that I've been there, there's never been any incidents in regards to safety or any problems. The area where we live, there are 8 streets that run from West Avenue to Garden, which is the area they're talking about putting a sidewalk in. Out of those 8 streets, 2 of them have sidewalks, the other 8 do not. In speaking with the residents on the streets where they do have sidewalks and asking neighbors and friends that live there, when the kids walk up to the corner to catch the bus in the morning, they walk in the street. When the kids go out to play in the evening, they play in the street. There's very little traffic. As I said, I live in the corner, and I see there's very little traffic except for the residents that go down this street. The timing of this project couldn't be worse. In the severe economic crisis that we're involved in now, not only for city, but for the individuals, it would be not the right time, I think, to spend money on a frivolous project such as this. I don't think the people that live on the street realize that this project would put the residents in debt for the next 10 years if this SSA is passed. There will be a 10-year assessment added to their property taxes, plus interest, and it's, from what I understand, could be anywhere from $300 to $1,000, depending on the frontage of your house and the size of the sidewalk. Finally, I'd just like to make a mention of the survey that was taken for this project and inform the council that the survey is indeed flawed and not accurate. I live at 568. I was one of the first people to respond to this survey. When I saw the results, which are public record, the survey indicates that I did not respond. Now, when you have a survey where it's 15-13 in favor of the project, me not responding would make, if they counted my vote, would make it 15-14. And if they missed my vote, how many other mistakes were made? So, in wrapping up, I'd like to strongly urge the council to really consider if they think this process is necessary. In this time of economic crisis, I don't think it's right to put an additional tax burden on the taxpayers in this area. Thank you for listening.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, very good. We'll come back to the dais. As always, I thank you for coming out this evening and making your thoughts known to us. We rely very much on this kind of local input as we go forward and try to make these decisions as fairly and equitably as possible. And as I said, this is just part of that process. So with that, I will close that hearing. Again, thank you for coming out this evening. We are still in what I call the public input part of our agenda. Number 5 is receipt of written communications and petitions. Does anyone have a written communication or a petition, a note that they would like to hand into the city clerk for copying, subsequent copying to the entire Elmhurst City Council? Anybody have such a document? Okay, no? We'll move on. We then move on to public forum. This is the part in our agenda where anyone in the audience can address the Elmhurst City Council on any issue of public interest. You folks here know that I took great pains to make sure that we were on agenda point on these 2 hearings. This is kind of open forum. Anything that's on your mind, anything that's going on in your neighborhood that you like or you don't like that you want to call to our attention, this is the time to do it. Does anybody wish to address the council this evening? No? Okay, very good. Well, that happens sometimes, and that's fine too. So we'll move on from the public forum. We then move on to our consent agenda this evening. Okay, I need a motion to accept the contents of the consent agenda in its entirety. Do I have such a motion? Alderman Mohler moves. Alderman Gutenkopf seconds. Does anybody have any items they'd like to remove from this evening's consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. That was a motion to approve the contents of the consent agenda. I'd ask the clerk to please note for the record that it was unanimous, as indeed it must be by state statute. I now need a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety as accepted. Alderman Gow moves. Alderman Bram seconds. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Gow.
Aye.
Bram.
Aye.
Regan, absent. Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Rose, absent. Hipskin.
Aye.
Moriarty.
Aye.
Nybo.
Aye.
Stepaniak, absent. Morley.
Aye.
Lumnicki.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
11 ayes, 0 nays, 3 absent.
11 ayes, 0 nays. That motion carries. Okay, very good. We have kind of a skinny agenda this evening. Actually, we're getting to our committee of the whole agenda, which will take the bulk of the evening, but we now are at reports and recommendations of appointed and elected officials. Any reports or recommendations on the dais, Mr. Bram?
Yes, thank you.
Bram.
As many, if not all, of the residents of Elmhurst know, the storm issues, the water issues we've been having, I just want to actually provide some feedback from my past. I've interned as a civil engineer, and I spoke with various consultants throughout various counties, and it seems like from my unofficial polling that various communities, various municipalities have seen similar issues with storm as well as sanitary in their communities. The few people that I did speak with actually said it sounds like from the feedback that I gave them on what Elmhurst has done in the past, that we're actually, and I know this is hard to believe when we talk about the issues that we've seen here in the city, but we're actually ahead of the game compared to some other municipalities. Case in point being the sanitary linings that we have done. Some communities haven't even considered that and only started to consider that within the last year when we're already 2, 3, whatever years into it. Another piece of the report that I wanted to provide was from some of their experience is what they have been looking into on what's causing the infiltration is a few things. Sump pumps being hooked up to the sanitary, and I know the city of Elmhurst is already looking into this, but this is more for an informational to the general public. The lining that we did to make sure that those connections, those service connections to the home were sufficiently done, and then when new homes are connected to the sanitary, that are the old sanitary service lines were also terminated appropriately, because that is what has been found in other communities. But I just actually want to say that you know, my unofficial polling in the communities within the Illinois area, that it sounds like Elmhurst is ahead of the game, and I know by speaking with the Public Works Department that we're pursuing this on a very efficient basis to see what we can do to resolve the issues that we are currently seeing. So, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, my report, I was going to say a little bit about the water situation. I missed the meeting 2 weeks ago when we had a group of neighbors out, and I think I'm going to let Mr. Bram's comments stand alone as is. I don't need to be compounding that. I will say that, you know, if you were here after the last year, August 08 event, I was very, very proud of the fact that we had 0 catastrophic losses in Elmhurst as a result of that rain, which was virtually identical to the 87 flood rain. It was a little less water, but it was over a much narrower amount of time, so the hydrologists tell us that the water in the creek was virtually identical. We had 1,300 plus catastrophic losses in 1987. We had 0 last year. But I hasten to add then, I hasten to add now, if you're one of the 300 or 400 homes that had water and or sewage in the basement, those numbers are totally meaningless to you. You still have water in the basement. And water in the basement can be a devastating thing. It's happened to my family, so I know. So we do everything we can. We have a number of programs in place to help people mitigate these problems on their property. Sometimes this involves telling people how they can spend money on their side of the property line, and they're resistant to do it, don't want to do it. Naturally, you know, when the water goes away and your basement is dry, you put it off for another day. But now's the time to address these issues. You know, cooler heads at cooler times. There have been in the past, and there will be again, cost-sharing programs from the city to help make all of this possible. And it's something that needs all of our attention. And it's kind of hard to think about it when we're dry, but the challenge is now to address it so that the next time we have this flooding issue. On my second note here to myself was to make sure that I wanted to make a point of, many of you were there. The St. Patrick's Day Parade was held in our community this past weekend. This is an event that I'm very, very proud of. I hope you are too. I hope the community looking in. If you didn't go to the parade, boy, you really need to think about going to that parade. Even, you know, as we've heard in these tough economic times, everything is not rosy. People are in tight budgets, et cetera, et cetera. This was a day to just really come out and celebrate community. It really doesn't matter a lick if you're Irish or not. You know, some people have pointed out to me that my last name is Marcucca. It doesn't really ring a bell from Ireland. But the police department tells me that we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 13,000 to 15,000 people on Spring Road. It was a very impressive number. If you got up, the elected officials, anybody could get to that spot. At the end of the parade, you're up at the railroad tracks there on the north end of the Silverado property. You turn around and look south, and that scene is really, really a stunning scene. And very much a family event. What goes on in some other towns, I won't mention any other towns. I don't want to throw brickbats at anybody that's not here, but I think that our event has been really done nicely and remains, after all these years, still very much a family-oriented, fun event. Lots of little kids out there enjoying the day. It's kind of a rite of spring now in Elmhurst, since we kind of celebrate. And this year, we caught very, very good weather, and boy, it was just a wonderful day, and I had a great time, and I hope everybody else did. And Jim O'Connor and his committee deserve our congratulations, because that thing is put on mostly by volunteers, and they put in hundreds of hours of work to bring that parade to our community, and I think they deserve to be recognized and thanked from this dais, so that's why I make a point. Mr. Borchard, any thing in your reports and recommendations?
No
sir?
reports, sir.
Okay. Other business? Announcements? What? Oh, under other business, there's a letter on the dais from Alderman Rose. This is just going to be, I guess, a referral at this point. It came in today, so is that right, Tom? What committee would this go to? Public Works?
Public Works.
Public Works. And again, you've seen it. It has to do with the flooding issues as raised by Mr. Bram.
Yeah.
Just and ask for a review of that. So, yes, sir.
Oh, wait. Never mind.
Okay. All right. And that's adjournment. I need a motion to adjourn. You have an announcement.
I just wanted to announce that early voting started today at City Hall, March 16th, and will end on April 2nd. In order to early vote, you must be a registered DuPage County voter and present a government-issued photo identification.
Thank you,
That's it.
Clerk. I'm glad that you were able to make that announcement. I'll announce that I voted today. It's in the building where I work, so I walked across the hall and voted. It's very convenient. I hope that the newspapers that are here will report that the early voting is going on. It saves you from getting up early or rushing home from work on voting day. What we really would like, and I'm going to make an announcement, I guess. It's election time. I would ask everybody, if at all possible, find your way to the polls and vote. Who you vote for is entirely your business. But as I have said at the Memorial Day service, we have had a number of young men from our community sacrificed, going in harm's way in defense of our way of life over the last several years, and one of the key components of that way of life is the right to vote, which was earned, unfortunately, in battle in places like Concord and Lexington and Bunker Hill. And that's just not a poetry or some fairy tale. That's a fact. And so if you could find it in your time and your schedule to vote sometime over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure that the men and women of the armed forces and I would appreciate it very much. So, okay. Thank you very much. And now I need a motion to adjourn.
Question first.
Yep.
What are the times that the people can come in and vote at?
Oh, very good question. City Clerk will have the answer. What are the voting times at Elmhurst City Hall? One good question.
Good question. I was trying to keep it brief, but voting will take place here at City Hall from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
5 days a week?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, no Saturday, no Sunday.
No Saturday, no
Okay?
Sunday.
Okay. Okay, now a motion to adjourn. Alderman Moriarty moves, Alderman Hipchin seconds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Okay.